Namaskar, my dear students. Today I am going to discuss the course content of the paper 4036 of 4th semester Honours course in Sanskrit under the Guwahati University. As you all know that CBCS course has been implemented a couple of years ago, but no such textbook has been brought out so far in Sanskrit. So, to help the students of Sanskrit Major who are specially pursuing the course in the 4th semester, I have come up with the present video which will give some points on the three heads of the first unit of the paper 4036. The title of the paper is Sanskrit and World Literature, and the first unit goes as Survey of Sanskrit Literature in the World. Now, this unit has three subheads. The first one is Vedic cultural elements in ancient Eastern and Western societies. The second subhead is presence of Sanskrit words and ideas in English language. And the third subhead is general survey of the classical Sanskrit literature in the Eastern and Western literature. I want to start with the first subhead, that is Vedic cultural elements in ancient Eastern and Western societies. My dear students, it's a vast topic, but everything cannot be accommodated within a video of a small period. Even then, I will bring some important points on the topic given here. It is a proven fact that Vedic civilization developed on the banks of the river Saraswati. Though the scholars are of different opinions about the exact place of origin of the Vedic civilization, but it is unanimously granted that the Vedic civilization was an early human colonization, and it expanded through a multidimensional movement around the world. Thus, Vedic culture spread through the line of human civilization in different parts of the world. The prominent similarity between Vedic culture and some of the customs of various ancient societies of the world endorses the fact that there was a free and open movement of the Vedic people throughout the globe. And these people carried their culture wherever they have reached. They passed this culture to the local people as well as the people who had come in contact with them. And this way, the Vedic culture, its elements, spread throughout the world. The prominent and evident stakeholders of this culture can be traced in the Aztec culture found in Mexico, Maya culture, the descendants of which group live in Guatemala, Honduras, Belize, and some parts of Mexico, Maoris of New Zealand, and the Druids, that is ancient Celts. Many scholars opine that in the pre-Columbian era, I think Columbus discovered America. So we are referring to the time which was prior to discovery of Columbus. So in the pre-Columbian era, the soil of America was throbbing with the elements of Vedic culture, and it was strong enough before the sense and rules of Christianity prevailed. Stephen Knapp, in his article, clearly says that till the Civil War in America, the influence of the Vedic thought continued, and the prominent places of influence in this regard were Concord, Massachusetts, Mexico, etc. Students, as you are pursuing a worldview, it is better to keep a globe or a world map before you, because it will be easier to understand the places and you will be able to get the journey of the Vedic people through the map in a more easier way. It is important to point out that the Aztec group of people used to follow a close connection between human and the gods, just like the Vedic people did. So we all know that in Vedic era, there was a close connection between the human world and the world of the nature. Like Vedic people, here also in the Aztec group, the natural elements and phenomena were considered as gods. The concept of the existence of the Supreme Being, the idea of heaven and hell, the circle of life and death, the religious customs followed since pre-birth period up to the time after death are some of the major social elements of these people which bear very close resemblances with Vedic culture. So we must note this point. Scholars like Prescott has established similarities between the Aztecs and the Hindus of India. So just after finishing, in a very few sentences, the similarities between the Aztec group of people and the Vedic society. Now we have come to the Maya group of people. We all know there was a Maya civilization. It was also an ancient civilization. So the Mayans also had a close similarity in their customs and tradition in social and spiritual life with the doctrines of the Vedic principles. Mayans used to believe the existence of God everywhere. So it echoes the Upanishadic statement, Sarvam Khalvedam Brahma. These Maya peoples, that means Mayans, the people of Maya civilization, they used to call the Supreme by the name Aho. These people used to believe in the doctrine of the creation and destruction of the world, which also reflects Vedic thought. They used to believe in the concept of rebirth, That is the core concept of the Vedic lore, Punarjanma. Now, we have come to the Maoris of New Zealand. My dear students, I am just giving you the outlines. If you want to know in a better way, or if you want to know more things, you can search in the internet, or you can go for the study in the books. The Maoris of New Zealand also establish a close similarity with the Vedic life in various social rules and customs. Scholars are of opinion that these people came to New Zealand through India and Sumatra. So, scholars find here the connection between the Maoris and the Vedic society. The society of this group of people possess strong connection with nature, just like the Vedic people. The earth was considered as the mother, just like the Vedic principle, which used to utter Mata Bhumi Putra Aham Prithibhya. And they took the sky as their father or papa. They used to call Papa sky, which echoes the Vedic idea, Do Pita. Births, marriages and deaths in this society used to be accompanied with various rites and rituals reflecting the Indian concept of sanskaras. These people used to believe that the soul leaves the body after death and it gets purified, thus reminding us of the famous principle of the Gita, Na hannate hannamane sharire. It is the famous line, one of the famous sentences, one of the famous expressions of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So now I have come to speak about the ancient Celts. The ancient Celts, called Druids, also showed a close similarity of customs and faith with that of the Vedic society. Some scholars even think that the Druids and the Vedic Brahmins are the two branches of the same Vedic civilization. Druids were the priestly caste like the Brahmana or Brahmavid in Vedic forum. So it is not connected to caste. It was connected to the study of the Veda. Who knew the Vedas was called Brahmana or Brahmavid. The concept of cosmology prevailed among this class of people, that is, this Druids, the people belonging to Druids community. They resemble the idea of Vedic cosmology in high degree. So there was a close connection between the idea of cosmology found in this group of people, that is in the Druids community, and in the Vedic people. Like the Vedic belief and practice, nature used to play a strong role in the life of humans of this group. The concept of Deva Prithvi, Do cha Prithvi cha, Deva Prithvi. The concept of Deva Prithvi, that is the sky and the earth, establishing their close connection. That is close connection of the earth and the sky with the human world has also been reflected in the idea of the Druids in the context of the relation between the earth and the sky in the life of common people. So like Vedic people or like the culture of the Vedas, the people of Druids, they also had deep respect for Deva Prithvi, that is Mother Earth and Father Sky. Now I have come to the Asatru group. The Swedish, they are the group from Sweden. The Swedish Asatru group of people also displayed some reflections of Vedic custom and belief. It prevailed throughout the northern Europe in ancient period. So now the connection between the Vedic society and the ancient society of Europe, in some places, obviously not in all the places of Europe, in some places of Europe, now we are going to discuss that. So this point is also very important. The polytheistic belief. What is the meaning of polytheistic belief? Polytheistic belief means the belief in many gods. So the polytheistic belief of this group mainly reflects the Vedic concept of Bahudevatta. Actually, the word Asatru, the name Asatru, reflects the meaning of belief in the god Asa. So Asa was the god, and the group who had belief in this god, they were called Asatru group. Thus, this group of people emerged on the basis of their belief in God, but not in human being. This group of people used to believe in the ethics of reciprocity or golden rule of ethics. This is very important. What is this golden rule? It is very important to grasp. The golden rule speaks the ethics of not creating harmful activities to others, not to have autocratic right, etc. So golden rule means what behavior we want from others, we should show that behavior to others. What behavior we don't want from others, we should not behave in that way. We should avoid those behaviors. So this is the golden rule of culture. So students must understand this, because this is very important for exam also. So if we look into the innate sense of this rule, it naturally reminds us of the Vedic principles like Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sukhaya, Sangachadhang, Sangvadadham, Sahanavavatu, Sahanu Vunaktu. Because all these examples from Vedic lore are the examples showing the ethics of golden rule. And these ethics, these rules, these expressions, these principles, they construed the base of the Vedic culture. Thus, a focus on these early societies of European and American countries revives the thought of the influence of the Vedic culture on the life and principle of the people of those societies, directly or indirectly. This is the picture, how the similarity between these ancient Western societies go with the culture of Vedic societies. So how the similarities can be deciphered, it is given in this talk. So the students, if you are interested, you can go for deep study in this regard. Some of the Asian societies also display their close connection with the Vedic culture, not only in their ancient period, but also in some modern rites, rituals, beliefs and practices. So I have already told you, it is better to keep a map, or it is better to keep a globe while studying this part of your course, because this will make you understand easily how the journey of the Vedic people went on. And also it will give you the connection between the places outside India and India itself. So it is better to have a world map or to have a globe before you for studying this part of your course material. Nepal is a close descendant of the Vedic civilization, as its origin was the base of Vedic life and rituals. We all know that we have a very close connection with Nepal. This place is connected with Ramayanic life, as it is considered as the birthplace of Sita. Now student may ask me question, or student may have the question in their mind that how come I can support the Vedic tradition in the Nepal by speaking about the story of Ramayana. My dear students, you must understand that the Ramayana, the Mahabharata and the Puranas, they are the books which spread the chronicles, which spread the messages, which spread the principles of Vedic culture. So, itihasa puranabhyang vedang samupabringhayet. It is a very, very common saying among the students of Sanskrit. So, by telling the story of the Ramayana, by establishing the connection with the story of the Ramayana of this people of Nepal, we can easily understand how the people, they were connected with the Vedic lore, or they were connected with the Vedic culture, Vedic principle. The life of the Nepalese still is governed by the basic principle of Vedic civilization, as it is in the case of India. Their rites, rituals and other religious practices still reciprocate the existence of Vedic culture there. The sanskaras of life, I have already mentioned about sanskaras. Sanskaras of life have been still maintained in the society of the Nepalese people, and nature gods are worshipped with Vedic mantras and rituals. What are the nature gods? Just like the sun god, the moon god, Indra, Varuna, those are the nature gods. And the students of Sanskrit, you all know that these gods were very much powerful in Vedic society. And like this, in the society of Nepal also, these nature gods are still worshipped by different mantras and different rites and rituals. Ramayana, Mahabharata and Gita are considered to be the must-read for the Nepalese people. The concept of supreme being guides the society as a whole. The Upanishadic principles are followed for the growth of the human values in the society. So, the people of Nepal, they still considered the Upanishadic value as the value of human life. This is very important. The influence of Vedic culture in the Asian countries in the Pacific regions going towards down from India. So the influence of the Vedic culture in these Asian countries in the Pacific regions is more or less obvious in different directions. The places like Champa, that is modern Vietnam, students, you should remember the old names of the new countries. This is very important. This will help you in knowing many more things in the near future. So, Champa, that is modern Vietnam, Kamboja, that is Cambodia, Sukhodaya, Dharavati and Ayodhya, that is modern Thailand, Kataha, that is Malaysia, Subarna Bhumi, that is Myanmar, Sri Vijaya, that is Sumatra, these were very much connected to India, and the Puranic concept of Aryavarta included almost all these countries in its wider jurisdiction. So, if you go through the concept and idea of Aryavarta, that is ancient India, the position of ancient India, the geographical position of ancient India, you will find that all these countries, these were included within the periphery of the geographical area of India, ancient India. Sri Lanka is a common name in the line of Indian civilization, we all know, as it connects its existence with the story of the Ramayana in the days of antiquity. So, Lanka, Sri Lanka, modern Ceylon, it is connected with the Indian lore or Indian principle, or in the life of Indian principle, it is connected from time immemorial, because it is connected with the Ramayana. Because of the constant connection between these places and the mainland India, the places within the region of Pacific Ocean and India, the connection was very old, very ancient, and the connection was constant. It was going on without any interruption. The flow of Vedic culture was very much obvious in the life and societies of these countries. The Javanese Hindu temple played a great role in keeping the continuation of Vedic culture among the life and custom of the local people. The glorious Hindu rule in Java from 1st to 16th century AD escalated the process of imbibing the Vedic beliefs and practices in the society of the people of Indonesia. Important point. Now, we have to understand that some of these connection or correlation are still present even in these days of developed technology or these days of developed civilization. Obviously, some changes have happened. It is obvious with the change of time, the feeling, the beliefs, the customs, the traditions, these also change. But with the changes, the people of Indonesia, the people of Sri Lanka, the people of Thailand, Malaysia, they also show their connection with the Vedic principles in their life and custom. Subsequently, the Kakawin literature came up with strong force in Indonesia. So, this Kakawin literature, it is a vast literature, and in this literature, students, you must know this point, that in this Kakawin literature, we find many books, many write-ups which are just adaptations of Sanskrit works. So, the language is changed and the story is a bit changed, but the basic thing, the basic concept, the basic story remains the same. So, it is very important to go through this point. The Indonesian people started to write up different types of subject matter from the Vedas, Puranas, Smritis and other Sanskrit literary works. Starting from the Ramayana Kakawin of Rishi Yagishwara, the specimen of such literature remain the source of Vedic and classical Sanskrit references connected to the life and society of Indonesia. So, see from what volume of antiquity what volume of antiquity is attached with this connection. So, from the Ramayana story, this connection is going on. And as the Ramayana story connects both these countries, so we can decipher that obviously the impact of Vedic lore, Vedic principle, Vedic culture was also there in ancient period of Indonesia. The peculiarity of the society of this country is that even the Muslim kings and personalities bear Hindu names. Hindu rites and rituals are followed in a Vedic way in various temples by the Purohita. It is still there. If you can visit after pandemic is over, if you can visit, you will see this custom still prevalent there. Indonesia is also famous for its Shastra literature, where Vedic influence is prominent from different angles. Now, I have come to the middle part of the world. So that is why the map is necessary or the globe is necessary. It will make the process easier. Again, in Persian country like Iran and almost all the countries of Middle East, the translated version of the Upanishads by Muhammad Dara Shikoh, which is entitled as Shir Akbar. It is a very important book and you have another unit. You will have to study it separately. So this translation by Dara Shikoh in Persian from Sanskrit, the translation of the Upanishad, it plays a great role to disseminate the Upanishadic role in the minds of the people. And the idea of Upanishadic lore has been conglomerated with the doctrines of Sufism in various places of this area. This is also very important. So Dara Shikoh's translation of the Upanishad, which goes under the name, it is still there, Shir Akbar. This translation is the Upanishadic lore to the countries of the Middle East. And the people of that area, they started to know the Vedic principle or the Upanishadic principles of Upanishadic message of life from this translation, and it submerged with the Sufism. So that is another point of discussion, it will come later. Going through the Persian version of the Upanishads by Dara Shikoh, the French scholar Anquetil du Perron, the name is Anquetil du Perron. He translated it in Latin, which was published from Strasbourg. So this is important. What is the title? The title is Opnek Hak. Upanishad, it was taken as Opnek Hak. This Latin version was again translated into other languages. This is the journey of a book. This is a natural journey of any book. So from the Latin version was again the book translated into other languages. The great Sufi soul, Dara Shikoh, throughout his life tried to preach the Upanishadic value of human life and its connection to the Supreme Soul. So, what is it? The Upanishad says the connection between the Jivatma and Paramatma. It establishes the connection of the individual soul and infinite soul. So, this connection Dara Shikoh wanted to establish among his fellow beings. And it was nothing but the principal lore of Sufism also. So this way we may have an idea about the existence of Vedic cultural elements in ancient Eastern and Western society. So students, this is the first subhead of Unit 1 of this paper 4036. The question may come about different types of societies, how societies were connected on the basis of Vedic laws, or how the societies they display the connection between their customs and principles with the customs of Vedic culture. So this is very important, and I think this part is going to help you a bit. Thank you.